a muscle-bound cop in the ladies' wig and the bad-fitting baseball cap. See him driving round the city, running over bad guys in his Chevrolet piece of crap. On loan from San Diego, don't know why they call him Samurai. His name is Joe, but he doesn't fit the profile for a samurai. He doesn't even have a sword. Samurai cop. He's telling these son of a bitches he respects the Japanese of this country. He's gonna turn him into fertilizer while he's making time with the gang boss's lady. Samurai cop at the cop shop, flirting with the lady cop and every other woman in the place, 'cause he can't stop. Now he's hitting.
Welcome everyone to some Wednesday night fun. J-Mac, how cool was that song?
Where did you find that?
I found it just literally by looking for the soundtrack of Samurai Cop, and then that came up, and I looked at it, and some guys had made it.
I love that. It was. I mean, it was funny. It was funny as hell. But I'd heard a similar kind of thing. Somebody had written the Die Hard movie into a rock song.
Yeah.
Remember when we first met John McClane? It's really cool. But that actually trumped it. That was awesome.
Similar vein. It was actually amazing. We got someone in the chat already. Craig Mathew, man. Looking forward to this. Hearing about this extensive samurai. Oh, great! It's extensive. Well, ladies and gents, Mathew is in the virtual building tonight to answer all your questions. So if you do have any questions about his career, Samurai Cop, or anything, pop them in the comment section and I will bring them up. Really looking forward to this, J-Mac. We done a review, actually, not even a deep dive or a watch along. It was a review of Samurai Cop, and I'm so glad that we done that, because I don't know how I've gone this long without actually knowing about the movie.
I only heard about it maybe 2 years ago, but I don't know why I kind of neglected to mention it to you, the one person I should have mentioned it to, because it's an absolute blast of a film. It's a complete shit show, but it's
for the right reasons.
It's awesome. It's just it's so good.
It's like a wee friend that you take places and you know he's going to get you in trouble, but you still love him anyway. Right? It's like me. But yeah, I had so much fun watching it, and it's one of those movies I can put it on and they'll go, "Oh, I've just seen this," and I'll watch it again and I'll watch it again. And I think it's like a wildfire. When you watch it, you just want to tell everybody about it, and everybody watches it, and then you have a good laugh about it and work. This bit was great, but I think as far as these kind of movies go, I think based on something like Samurai Cop, other directors and producers and stuff may try and make deliberately movies like that, because there's a fan base for that,
Absolutely. I mean, we've all seen films like Sharknado and stuff recently that are made to be tongue-in-cheek, but Amir Sharvan thought he was making a good film, and that's what makes the fact that it was so terrible so good.
That was amazing.
It's got that charm to it. It's like the guy that made Birdemic thought he was making a good film, but that is terrible. This is awesome. This film is so good. I can't wait to talk to Matt. It's going to be
let's bring him in. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mathew Karedas.
Boss is coming.
There he is.
Hey guys, that was a very sweet introduction to even intimate that I had a career in Hollywood was good. It was only 2 films. It had become a career after 30 years with this movie.
Which is amazing.
That's 2 more films than I've done. So
I was going to say that myself.
I know. You always think when you first start out that the movie that you did was just to get you to that stardom level that you want, and didn't think it would be forever in infamy, but it is what it is.
It's quite amazing, and I think with the integration of the internet into society and stuff, because when you made that movie, the internet wasn't a thing, right? So
No, YouTube is what really started it.
yeah. The world kind of changed, and then it kind of gave birth to this amazing following for the movie. So I read somewhere that you came straight out of school and went and ran a video store. Was that because you had a love for movie, or was it just like kind of like a job for you?
I think it was more necessity. It was the early 80s. My older brother, who's 4 years older, had just graduated college, had a business degree. My father thought, Matt's kind of, who knows where he's going to end up, so let me keep him busy. So the video store was something. It was a franchise video store called National Video, similar to what I think Blockbuster became, but we were kind of an upper echelon of video stores back then. So for me, I just enjoyed, having a job, and then of course that was where all my love of movies came on. I mean, I'm kind of in the same vein as like Quentin Tarantino, and as far as working in a video store, I can visually remember every box if you wanted, in the heat of the night or what. I knew it was a Paramount and what color, blah blah blah. But yeah, it was fun to be around that for at least 3 years. I did that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what kind of movies? Because I also worked in a video store as I came out of school, and it was Blockbuster just before it went down. So I was like one of the last trained people in Blockbuster, and I loved the fact that I could go into Blockbuster and they called it product research, where I would get all the new titles for free to take home, watch them, and then bring them back so I could explain them to the customers. Oh, this is the movie for you. So I got to talk about movies all day, got paid for it, and got to watch free movies. It's kind of like this podcast.
Right? It's fun. It's a fun gig.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm disturbed that they let Kevin tell people about movies, because he will tell them everything, every spoiler. It's like, oh, have you seen The Sixth Sense yet? Oh, Bruce Willis is a ghost, by the way. That's how Kevin tells you about a movie. Yeah.
So what kind of movies for you were like? What were the movies that you would take home? What were your love for movies? Which ones?
I mean, I wasn't into the horror movies, and that was a big time in the 80s. A lot of those videos. Obviously I watched a lot of action Stallone movies. I was big into the Rockies and the Rambos, and then Chuck Norris had Missing in Action and those kind of things. But I'd say I became obsessed because I just got out of high school right there. I graduated in 82. We opened a video store in July of 82, and it ran till like 1985. But I always had that desire to head to Hollywood to be the famous actor. And I don't know where it stemmed from. It could have been from when I first maybe did see Rocky back in 1976 when it came out. And a lot of people, when I was younger, there was a slight resemblance. So people would say that I was always the class clown. So then seeing Rocky, and then I would start boxing and doing all that and training. And but I always just thought I got to get out of Portland, Oregon, which is where I grew, which is the Pacific Northwest, kind of a rainy climate, and head to Southern California and chase that dream down. But I had done as much as I could have there in Portland in local theaters, and I just had that bug to just head to Hollywood and like anybody else with visions of grandeur, thought I would be able to become a big star, which kind of, but not the way I planned, is occurred.
I mean, you have to make the move, or it's never going to happen, how did you, like, from that time when you arrived in Hollywood thinking, right, I'm going to try and be an actor, how did you end up being a bodyguard for Stallone?
I had a friend when I worked out in Oregon. I obviously built up my size. I think I graduated 6'3", 178, and then I got up to 200, 220. Just kept eating and working out, getting bigger and bigger. Never used steroids. I probably would have easily got to 300 pounds, but I think my highest weight was 270. So I had a friend who had a friend in California that worked in a security industry, and I thought, hey, maybe I could hook up with him, get a job starting as a big guy doing whatever, and then I'll segue into doing some acting stuff. So when I moved here, I started with that guy's company. Wasn't what I wanted. It was more event security, like you see at concerts, the guy that just stands around. I was looking more for executive protection, bodyguard type work. And I had, when I explained what I wanted, they gave me a name of the guy. I contacted him. He happened to have the contract, ironically, for Stallone's estates and his personal security detail. And I also tracked down the gym where Sly worked out in Santa Monica, because I thought, well, let me put myself in that arena. So I found the gym owner, George Pipasik, who owns Santa Monica Bodybuilding Center. And that's kind of how I got started in that. And Sly had just come back from filming Rambo 3, and I, met him that day and his bodyguards, and we just talked, and we kind of knew the same people. Ironically, one of Sly's bodyguards, Gary Compton, he's Hawaiian, was the cousin of my friend Fanuai Lutu in Portland, who gave me the introduction to the security. So there's that kind of connection that just lets people think, all right, he's not a freak. He's not an SS fan, and he's a big dude. We could use him. He's young, So that's kind of how I met him and how things started in as far as that connection.
What was that like for you? Because you said there, obviously, you loved the Rocky movies. And so if you loved them the same way as we do, like he's on that pedestal there for you.
Yeah.
What was that like from loving Rocky movies to then working with Rocky?
It was kind of surreal. I mean, obviously I was starstruck. I mean, I idolized him growing up in fitness, and my older brother, who also was worked out. And so I looked up to them for role models. But then, when I first arrived in September in '87 in LA, they were still filming in Israel, Rambo 3, finishing shots. But I had seen in the gym, George's wife was running the gym while George was on set with Sly training him. Pictures from the set, and I thought, fuck, man, this guy's fucking ripped. And I'm just this big fucking WWF wrestler, thick, 270 pounds. I mean, I was benching probably 420 pounds at the time. And George was always worried I was going to break the bench because no one looked like that in the gym. They were all into abs and glutes and Hollywood. And I was just this big, whatever. But he came home just before Christmas of that year. And I remember the phone call came to the gym. Sly's on his way in, and he doesn't like drafts, so they closed all the windows in the gym. And then I heard the Harleys pulling up, and then it was just kind of fun. Then he comes bouncing in the gym in his little boxing attire, and shorter than I expected. I think Sly's like 5'9", maybe 5'10" with the lifts. And I'm 6'3". Anyway, so I've made I've told the story. As he came in the gym, he was saying hello to people he knew. But he knew I was there, and it kind of like a dog pissing on his territory. He came by the biggest dude in the gym, kind of just gave me that look, like, hey, this is my house. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And that was kind of the initial. It was just fun. And then to obviously work for him for the 2 or 3 years was surreal. Just being around the best and at the top of his career at that time. Me as a young actor, hadn't done Samurai Cop yet, but I thought it's interesting to see how real Hollywood works. I mean, he's with the top producers. There's no bullshit with casting and all that kind of, shit that girls go through, or even guys. You go down the wrong path, you end up in porn, which maybe Samurai Cop could have been. I mean, with the way it ended up. But anyway, so it was just, it was a thrill to work for him. I learned a lot being around him, and I've always cherished those times. We were still friends. I haven't seen him in many, many years, but it was kind of a cool experience for a young kid to watch his movies and then to be there working for him. It didn't really sink in until maybe years later how cool that was.
Yeah, it's incredible. Awesome. I mean, so it's one of those dream kind of jobs. We've got a couple questions here from some of your fans. Chelsea Edgar Jordan.
It could be Ekegrin or Ekegrin. I'm not sure. Let's go.
Remember, Matt, we were telling you that we're quite bad at pronouncing people's names.
Oh, that's fine. That's all right.
So she says, I love Samurai Cop so much. Having a copy rifed and unrifed is a must for a fan. I wonder if anyone knew then really had any idea of how big a cult following it would have years later. I mean, I can't imagine for yourself. I mean, that kind of is a question in itself. Did you think it was going to be one of those movies that was going to be massive, or did you think maybe it would just be something that you could look for in a video store
before you started filming it?
Well, before starting filming it, I mean, I got the introduction to Amir, who was the director from one of the other bodyguards that worked with me with Sly, who had done apparently some film with Amir, and he said, hey, Matt, call Amir. He does these low budget films. You need to get some videotape, and he could probably hire you. So walking in, I was just trying to get a part. And when I walk in, he's like, oh, you are perfect. Exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm like, this is great. How much are you going to pay me? And what kind of movie is it? And he basically said in a broad stroke, it was a Lethal Weapon, low budget ripoff. And I thought, okay, I can do that. I said, but I do have a problem because it says Samurai Cop. I said, I have zero experience. And I mean, I can fight and all that. And he said, oh, don't worry. I'll make you look good. And I said, okay. So, So yeah, I mean, I just figured it was just going to be a good movie, and all of us in the beginning just thought, hey, this is a nice opportunity to get some footage, and obviously being the lead of the movie, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And hopefully that would parlay into more and more work. But we never knew it was going to be anything cult-wise. Even at the completion of it, we just thought, oh my God, I hope nobody sees this and it's gone forever. But it didn't. No, we didn't think anything about cult.
That's crazy. And I think you basically answered Elise's question there. She says, "Is Matthew a martial art cinema fan?" So did you enjoy, like, for me, best of the best and stuff like that? J-Mac absolutely loves the Bruce Lee movies. For yourself, did you?
Yeah, I love the Bruce Lee movies. I watched those in the video store because they were kind of odd movies that were kind of a niche. I just love watching them. It was just amazing the stuff that they did. But I just thought it takes so many years of dedication to do that. I was absolutely addicted and dedicated to weight training and, lifting weights. Not so much bodybuilding, but you have to call it that because you're watching your diet and you're sculpting your body. And I remember even watching Pumping Iron. It was on video back then, and that was inspirational. But yeah, martial art movies, no. I mean, I like Van Damme and all those kind of things, and Chuck Norris not so much, but Bruce Lee was just cool to watch. Very aesthetically just ripped and so fast, but never really had any discipline to get into it. We learned pieces of different arts as bodyguards. We knew control holds, some judo stuff, some aikido, but never formally. That's why I was so embarrassed for Gerald when him and I were doing scenes. He's a master, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't know. Just try to teach me. As we know, I started goofing off with the Elvis Presley and rock and roll hands. Because at a certain point,
that's awesome.
Amir would say, Matthew, do something. I go, I don't know anything. The camera's running.
You said you would help me.
Yeah, we have small amount of footage. You only had one take. So I started goofing off, which I've said in other, interviews, it was disrespectful to Amir. But at a certain point after 9 months, I was like, but anyway, but yeah, no martial arts training.
We, when you got that script, did you look at the script and go, and did you see, like, for when you read a script, you've got an image in your mind of what the movie's going to be like. Obviously, I can't imagine how it turned out as how you exactly thought it was going to be. What did you see? Was it a Lethal Weapons ripoff when you saw it, when you read the script, or did you have ideas that you thought maybe it could be something different from what it actually turned out? And what was that?
I mean, initially, I think like most actors, you kind of thumb through just to see how many scenes am I going to be in. So I must have missed the part where he said, you're the star. So you're going to be in pretty much every scene. Yeah. But reading it, the dialogue was very structured as our American old Western movies were, with the dialogue, hey, you, come here. Hey, fire, shoot, bang. So I saw
wait a minute.
And that kind of stuff. And I brought that up to Amir, but God bless him, that's his Iranian translation into, and I think he said he wrote all these, maybe somebody helped him. But so I saw the cadence and how it was laid out, and he said, no, don't worry, you can change it or make it more hip or whatever. That obviously didn't happen, but a lot of that dialogue was verbatim that we spoke. And like you guys made reference sometimes in my monologues, I was either irritated that, I'm like you said, talking to a lamp off camera that's not even in the same. And I was trying as a bad actor, and I really want to make that clear. I was a horrible actor. And so my line readings were just shit line readings because Amir really wanted you to know the words. So I was focused more on remembering rather than being in the moment. I mean, if we get into thespianism, but anyway, so that's, but reading it, I just remember there was a lot of action. I thought, wow, this is going to be a pretty grandiose film, but the budget was not even near that. So I didn't know, what it was going to end up. And we slowly found out as things went along, but again, very grateful to even had the opportunity.
I remember talking to Kevin about you said that you're a bad actor, right? You said, I'm a bad actor. You're not. At the moments where you improvised your moment, you improvised the dialogue about the chicken in the next door neighbor's garden.
That was ridiculous.
But you were so natural. You appeared so natural in front of the camera. But the other part that I loved, I mean, you said it was silly, but see when you flicked the cop's hair and then hit your hand like you were a bad boy, I pissed myself laughing. I thought that was so funny.
It's just stupid shit. I mean, some of the improv stuff, I mean, I was doing stand-up comedy at the same time I was doing acting. I love that because I could control the material and be more like me. There was really nobody like me in Hollywood. When I left Oregon, I really wanted to be like John Candy, actor, big giant guy, kind of what Dwayne Rock Johnson is now. Action movies, but funny.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I love doing stand-up, and that was fun because I could control it, own it, and there was nobody really in Hollywood at the Comedy Store and these open mic nights doing what I did. But so I don't know, when Amir said, Matt, make something up to talk while you're eating, and which was just ridiculous. But yeah, those things in the second movie, I tried to do a little bit more, but again, I'm more of a personality, cult personality than an actor. I'm sure if I really had many takes and the ability to go to a playback and watch and go, oh my God, those eyes look like Charlie Manson. Let me do it again. Because that's just what it is, a ugly version of Nicolas Cage. But
No.
But anyway, yeah, I think eventually if we ever did do a 3, and the reason why I want to have so much creative control is because then I can be on it. I think I'm too much self-aware of myself, which is it's the death of an actor. You have to put yourself in a character. But there was no character samurai cop. All I knew was he's from San Diego. He's a cop. That's it. The rest is just me thinking I'm doing a great job acting. So it was just ridiculous.
How long? You walk into Amir's office. He's like, yeah, you're exactly what I'm looking for. You've got this. You've got your first movie. How long between thinking, yes, I've made it, I've got a movie, to the moment where you went, oh, farts?
I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. Started in June of '90, so obviously the fight scenes were, you see me like almost in a shirt just like this in the desert fighting the San Fernando Valley with Gerald. It was like 90 degrees out. And then when it got to October, there would be days off. Amir would shoot for 2 or 3 days, and then we wouldn't hear from him for a week because I thought he was developing the dailies, looking and seeing what he had. It was basically him just gathering more money to finance the continuation of the movie. And then slowly the big crew started dissipating. There was no sound guy anymore with the body mics. It was all boom mics. And that's why you see, even though it is bad acting, you see me escalating my tone when I'm speaking. And even though Mark's this close to me, I'm yelling in his face because Amir kept saying, louder, we can't hear you. Like, so this is, like come here, I have a secret. Can you hear me? I was like, so it got that kind of cuckoo, and then we started saying, all right, this is kind of getting a little ridiculous. And then we just focused on what's going to be salvageable video clips that we can pull apart from the movie and show it to an agent and say, hey, look, I can do this. I can act. Here's a little scene. It just became far and few between, which could be usable in the end, though. So, it wasn't good acting, but I don't know. I just think, again, I appreciated Amir's opportunity just to have me do it, and it was what it was as it ended up, though.
So Damien Fairbairn says, did Matthew consider leaving filming the movie at any point during the filming? I suppose you probably get asked that a lot.
No, but I mean, people, I got frustrated in the immaturity, obviously at 26, started goofing off and doing dumb stuff, was disrespectful, but never thought because you wanted to finish, then it became a chore. But when we got to November and we had done so many reshoots and it was just basically Mark and I, and Amir said, okay, we're done. Then that was it. I thought, okay, November, no big deal. And then of course we all know I cut my hair, or the people go, because my agent said, hey, no more parts for Tarzan in LA. So why don't you change your look? So I cut it really short. And then Amir had called me back in January of '91. And I thought it was time to pick up the movie, like you guys had mentioned. And it was him like, what have you done? And I'm like, and so he just said, we've got more to film. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. So yeah, off to the wig shop. I mean, we literally left that afternoon down the street from Amir's house or his office to Hollywood Boulevard, picked out a wig. And I thought, all right, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna throw a temper. I'll help him out, because I thought they would be far away, cut shots. It wouldn't be that noticeable, but fighting.
I mean, wait. Were you wearing a wig? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, can you imagine? It's just bad hair days those days. It's very. It kind of looks like my hair now, but yeah. And that was the problem in the winter. The months, the humidity, the wig would curl up. We didn't have a hair girl. I was brushing it every day. There was pieces of grass and all kinds of crap, and I just stick it on, and Amir would come and flatten it on my head, and okay. But I didn't even think then how ridiculous it would look. I mean, I just thought, okay, maybe it looks good. I don't know. But when we see the finished product, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe. And in one sequence, it would be my real hair running up to a wall, peek around the corner, it's the wig, back to me, and then back to me. So I was just like, oh my God, this is. So anyway, I started to understand why everybody loved the nonsense. That's actually in every frame of the movie. If you're trying to write down something, oh, that was funny, let me write it down. You just missed 4 things, either technically, acting wise, somebody's casting that Amir had put on, because he did amazing casting, like you guys talked about, the gang members and all these. He would see them on the street, said, "Do you want to be in a movie?" And they would just show up. But there was no continuity in the Japanese gang were all white, or the New York guys were all like you had mentioned. So that's where it became really a magical thing that Amir had with his casting that you got to give him, credit for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Full credit.
Yeah, I've got another comment. Craig Mathew Man says, I have probably watched Samurai Cop more than I've watched all the Rocky movies and Lethal Weapons combined. Sly should. Hey. He said Sly should definitely give you a part in Expendables 4. Mate, that would be the absolute best. By the way, we should hashtag that and make it a trend, right?
Yeah.
So that Sly sees it. That would be incredible.
I think they tried that a couple of years ago, the Expendables film crew. And I want to say something about Sly. Sly always knew towards the end of me working with him, he knew I wanted to get into acting. I was always, like I said, doing stand-up. For his oldest son, Sage, who has passed away, was very young at the time. I would be imitating Sly in the movies, doing all the scenes. And so Sly knew I had a knack for imitating even people around the office, other bodyguards. He knew eventually I wanted to move on, but he would not give me that first opportunity or break, because he said, I don't want people to think that, you got your help from me. If you get it on your own, of course, Sly would always be there. I assume, would say, hey, absolutely, let me help you out. You got your own thing going now. And he always cautioned me that, if you try to do action with the slight similarity that we have, they're going to typecast you as a Stallone clone, whatever. But in low budget movies, they're going to exploit that and put you on the cover. And then, it's not Rambo, but it's a guy that looks like him. And it's like a product of dish soap. It's like new and improved. Yeah, this was Sly, but here's a younger version, taller, whatever, So I understood that. But yeah, I don't think you put me in the Expendable. I would probably break in half with these guys. Everybody, I think one of the prerequisites is that you got to be on HGH. All these guys are just yoked. And I mean, even Mel Gibson, I'm like, what the fuck? I come in as this puny little lassie. No, that's not gonna. That's not gonna.
I'm telling you right now, right? There would be applause in the cinema if you walked on screen on an Expendables movie. Absolutely.
As an inside joke to that little niche of these fans out there. Yeah, there's a lot in the gaming industry and cult movies, but I don't know. I just don't think mainstream. That would be kind of a miracle to cross over.
How much would you would, J Matt, right? If we were sitting in the cinema and Matt comes on the Expendables, would you not just like, yes?
I would. Yeah. I mean, otherwise we do a B movie version of the Expendables with Tommy Wiseau, myself, the guys from Pandemic, some of the. That would be funny, but I don't know.
Yes. Hey, you've got some good ideas there. I don't know. I reckon that would be.
Oh, I've got plenty of good ideas, but I'm 57 and time's running out. When Father Time catches up, nobody wants to see the wrinkled old prune up there on the screen.
They're so
Mark Fraser's like, older than I am, and he's like, man, we got to hurry up and do at least one good attempt at a movie. And no disrespect to either director. I appreciated Greg Hatanaka for the second movie. And in the end, I want people to understand, because I have talked to Amir's son, even though we mock or Amir had a goal to make money with those movies. And if he spent 10 or 30,000 on Samurai Cop, in the end, he sold that for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he was a shrewd businessman. He knew, let's sell nudity, which is why we have those blatant scenes, action, and he played off of the, Lethal Weapon lookalike stuff. So he did really have a lucrative financial career in the 5 films that he did. I think Samurai Cop was maybe the 3rd or 4th of what he did. But, and I wish he was, still around, because I would love to hear his point of view of this as what it became. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a
Damien
shame.
Fairbairn says here, I have to ask Matthew's opinion on the fluent Japanese but can't pronounce a Japanese name scene.
yeah, it was written that way, where it says, "Are you Fujiyama?" And he had it in the script that way. But I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm supposed to have fluent Japanese. I mean, I wasn't that far ahead. I was just reading.
Yeah.
But it was written that way, and I do laugh when they say that. And then when I'm telling, I think the police station scene where I'm sitting on the desk, that was improvised. When I said, so anyway, I'm sitting there talking to Homaha, whatever his name is. that was an improvised scene where I made that up. But again, yeah, you're not saying anything in fluent Japanese except for katana, I guess, was the only.
Yeah.
It means Japanese
Katana
sword.
mean? Oh, Japanese sword. That I know. Just,
Oh man, this
really
film
fun.
had
It's
so
really fun to watch this movie with audiences, because that's where I get my most enjoyment of seeing. I've seen the riff tracks. I was at the riff tracks live when they did it here in
Oh
LA.
man,
Yeah.
And but yeah, traveling around, even when I was in the premiere in London and so on for the second movie, it's just fun to be with those fans and just see. And when I was in Madrid, Spain, it's not they're yelling at the screen, kind of, like it's in Spanish, so I couldn't understand them when I was in Madrid for that film festival. But it's, I don't care where you're from, it's just universal, the nonsense that goes on in this movie. But
We have access to a local cinema that we do a lot of work with. We actually do another show called The Box Office Banter where we review their movies, etc. If you are ever in the UK, we 100% will have to do a Samurai Cop screening where we get you a big meet and greet. That would be amazing. So next time you're in the UK, drop us an email and we'll definitely set that up. That'd be something else.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people that when I came over, I mean, when we get done with this fucking Corona nonsense traveling, I don't need shit stuck up my nose and all the other. But yeah, hopefully we can get back to normal where people can travel. I'd love to, because I really enjoy that. Meeting with people, and it's just fun for them to have questions.
Absolutely. And we find as well that we've done quite a few screenings with actors, G. Tom Mac from Lost Boys, Braveheart, and some of the cast from Braveheart, and we sell out the place, and people come along and they love the interaction part of it. So you get to experience the movie with the actor, but then you also get to know the actor for that evening, and that again, it's always been something we love to do, J-Mac.
It's kind of like, I've always enjoyed behind the scenes documentaries, so I guess that's kind of what people have told me they get from me, because I was always worried I would spoil the magic when this first started 6 years ago if they didn't understand what was going on, and that's why they loved it. I thought once I kind of tell you a backstory, would it ruin? And they said, no, it actually heightened it even more, because then it's even funnier that was going on, or this was what you guys were thinking, with the lion head and all this other shit going on that we weren't even looking or thinking about. But
but we always, like I say, we always do a lot of, I mean, it's not so much, it doesn't feel like research because we love it and we seek it anyway in our own time, but I couldn't find any behind the scenes stuff on Samurai Cop, and I think it would be amazing to see a Samurai Cop behind the scenes documentary. That'd be amazing to get all of the cast that are obviously still with us and sit them down and do the whole, where did it begin? Because there's a lot of you guys are like a wee family, so when we see like when you see in the Samurai Cop 2 that the same guys are back, it just fills you with warmth, because they could have just taken your character and done something completely different because you are the focal point. But the fact that the effort was made to bring
they did something different. you definitely did something different with the second film.
Greg's vision was a little different than what I would have wanted to do. I've always felt Mark and I were a team. I didn't always consider myself the star of the movie. It was a buddy cop movie, and Mark and I've always considered equals. Even in the sequel, I wanted that to take place. I get that I'm the Samurai Cop, but a lot of the love that people had was the relationship between Mark and I and the banter back and forth. It was written, the racial whatever slights and so on. But yeah, that's something that, and Janice, who played the blonde girl in the first movie, my love interest that I take to church and so on. Initially, when I reached out to her about the sequel, she wanted nothing to do with it. She was married at the time. Her husband actually had a martial arts studio, and she just didn't want the attention for her children she was a great actress, but I think it's the nudity. Maybe, you know, she didn't want people to see. She was a beautiful model, but anyway, they're all still around. Robert, we lost. Almost had him during the sequel filming, but the 2 times we wanted him to fly out, and then he passed away. But yeah, Gerald and all those guys are just great people. It's an ensemble piece. I would love to find the horny nurse. I don't know her name. I don't know where she is, but she's such a pivotal, you know, icon of all the clips from YouTube and everything else. But
based on her line readings, I don't think she knows what her name is.
She was a good girl. I mean, like I said in some of the interviews, I remember her auditioning for that part in Amir's office. I happened to be there, and he says, "Matt, go read with her and see if she's." And she actually grabbed my crotch in the actual part of the scene in the rehearsal. It's just her and I in the room, and I didn't think anything of it. I said, "Oh wow, she's a thespian. She's a real, you know, actress." Anyway, but we got along great. She had a boyfriend and everything, and she was trying to get a starting up career also in Hollywood. But I don't know if we all knew the line was just absurd. Hey, what do you got? And how big is it? This and that. But we just did it, and I don't know. It just didn't hit us. I think once we had got over the shock of the absurdity of the lines, we just said them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good, because then we weren't in on it. We were given our best acting with those lines. But yeah, I'd love to get them all back together again and see behind the scenes. There was a documentary made of the second movie, which Greg still has not released, called Enter the Samurai, which he hasn't put it together yet with, you know, what we did during the filming of the second one, which was pretty good, a rough cut I saw.
That'd be amazing. That'd be pretty cool. Heather Dow says, on a side note, Matthew's hair is awesome, so silky.
Silky.
Yeah, it's hanging in there. Yeah, we'll see how much longer it stays in my head. But yeah, at this point, it's like a pet. I can't get rid of it. I've had it for so many years. I mean, the other thing that I kept since the movie, if you remember in the first movie, the red Honda Prelude that I drove in the scenes that had Oregon plates marked out when we came up.
Yep.
I still have that car. It's got like 770,000 miles, still in mint condition. The license plate is SAMRICP, Samurai Cop.
No way.
People all the time pull up on the freeways in LA, they honk, and that was my inside joke. If they know who I am and what that means. So anyway, but it's just funny. I thought if we can get it to the third movie, that would be amazing. The car has had, because we bought it brand new in 1986, and I've had it ever since. But anyway, it's just amazing. The hair in the car. I'm trying to keep, just in case they're going to do one more. Somebody comes up. I mean, the only way that I think it would work is with Netflix. And I only say that because it is a platform that's worldwide, and the fan base is kind of worldwide.
Yeah.
The guy that runs Netflix, similar background as me. He grew up in a video store too. He has an affinity for those kind of movies. And I think if I sat down and kind of pitched, and he saw the whole scheme of things, first movie, second movie, what it is, I think it would be fun to just do one more, and it would probably cross over to mainstream, you know, as an interesting movie. But I don't know. I mean, that's always what I say, but I can't do another movie unless there's enough money to finish it or do it creatively the way that we wanted to, which Greg couldn't do in the second movie, and it ended up being whatever it ended up being too. So
I can imagine. J-Mac, you want to read that comment?
Yep. You just want me to read this because you can't say that name. Tell me the truth.
Go for it.
This is from Farid Jamal Khan. Janice is on the cover of Janice is on the cover of Young Rebels in a thong, but she's not in it. But the horny nurse actress needs to be in Samurai Cop 3. Okay.
Yeah, if we could find, and a shout out to Farid. I know him. We met when I was in the London at the premiere at Prince Edward's or whatever it was theater of Samurai Cop 2. So good to hear from you.
He looks like that's a big dude.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a real action fighter. I mean, he's a great actor, and he does action movies. So he's somebody that I would put in to say, all right, make me look good in this scene. Don't break me. But yeah, Amir did a lot of the same locations from his earlier movies, used the same people. Janice might have been in a movie, maybe not, but he would switch and add. You think he mixed and matched things to make them, like I said earlier, marketable for him to sell that movie overseas. And Janice was a beautiful girl. I mean, she had a gorgeous body. She was a Wilhelmina model, and she again also was just trying to get some footage and some tape, and did good. It was odd for me because her boyfriend at the time was on set most of the time, and her and I are kissing. The very first scene we did together, my first day of filming, was in the pool when we're swimming and she gets out and then we go have lunch or whatever. I mean, it's out of context, but that was the first time we met. And then I was always really conscious, and I've said this before, I've always felt the girls were always nude, and I of course had the black bikini on. But I was always conscious that they were uncomfortable, but Amir wanted to see that, and he loved seeing the beautiful girls naked. And that the one scene that you did make comment with the helicopter girl, Melissa, I knew personally. I met her. She had actually sent a photo in to Sly's office, the production office for Lockup. And I thought, wow, she's really pretty. And I kind of met with her and talked with her and found out she was an actress too. So when this movie came up, I said, hey, you want to be in a movie I'm in? And she's like, yeah, thanks for the, she had fun doing it. But in the love scenes, it was kind of goofy, uncomfortable. I agree. Also, I was mad. I had just had an argument with Amir prior to that scene where I said, I don't know why this character's having sex with all these women if he really loves Jennifer. Just do it. Go. Come on. So I thought, I'm just going to be an asshole and sit here. I'm just going to do nothing and not give any so that he won't use it. But of course he did. And but poor Melissa, she's up there writhing and I'm over grinding in underpants. It was just ridiculous. And I just thought, why are we doing this? But you do what you do. And, looking back on it, like I said, it's almost like a soft porn.
That's actually what you said leads on perfectly to my next question. Written in front of me, I said, did you ever argue with Amir on set? For example, when the wig fell off and he didn't want to do another take.
No, by that was the only day. That was my first day, like I said, shooting. We had shot the scene in the pool with Janice, and we did the kiss. Then it was out of context. Then we shot the bedroom scenes. He thought he would, and then he actually shot Robert Zadar's love scene with the redhead girl, different bedroom, same day also. He thought, let me get all this sex stuff in one day. But that was the only time I said something, and then he reacted a little bit, and I thought, okay, I'm going to respect whatever he wants to do. I should just be quiet. And then after that, no, I didn't. When the wig fell off when we were filming, me and Gerald are cracking up. I mean, we were just laughing. It's in the middle of winter, and so we just even on the scene when Robert puts me up against the tree and the wig is just like in my face, completely ridiculous. But I was always trusting because like I said, there was no playback, so I didn't know. I just assumed Amir and Peter Pallion, who was the cinematographer, liked what they saw, and it's good, and we're done. Let's move on. And we did use different footage, like you said. Some is day stock footage, some is night. Amir just took anything that was 35 millimeter, didn't care. And if we had to light it with a flashlight, the scene, that's what we did. But that's guerrilla filmmaking, and that's how determined he was to get this thing done and finish it.
That's amazing. I read also, and we had said this in the past podcast, did you show up for work one day and Amir's like, you're putting a guy out on fire?
Yeah. Mark and we didn't know. I always drove Mark to the set with me because he lived nearby me in West LA. So I would pick him up because he didn't drive. He was from New York. I don't know if that's an excuse, but so yeah, we showed up at with the desert location where we fought a lot of the scenes and where that ranch is up on the top where we had some gun shootout scenes. And he says, okay. And when we pulled up, the guy was already slathering that stuff on him to not burn, I guess. And I go, what are we doing? He goes, this is the scene where the man will crash, he'll catch fire. Mark and I are looking at it, and he goes, and you and Mark will put him out with this big fire extinguisher. And I'm thinking, well, where's the real fire people? Where's the ambulance? So, and Mark's just looking at me, what? And he had a blanket. So we actually, and it was one take. That's all we did was that one take. And, I mean, we did a cutaway of us going to the trunk to grab the stuff, but yeah. And we sprayed him with that little dinky Dixie cup fire extinguisher, and we covered him. And then Amir said cut, and then when I took the blanket off, he was still on fire. So we put it down, and that's why he's looking at us like, "Are you guys done?" Or And Amir paid him maybe $500, and the guy left. And I mean, that was how crazy.
Did you know that the guy, the stuntman that you were putting out, was a completely different ethnicity to the guy that he was supposed to be in the van.
Yeah, but I thought Amir would cheat the shot, or you know how they do it in movies where you don't really see. Yeah, because the Hispanic guy, that was his van that he owned. He was helping out on production for Amir. And I believe he did put a little money up as a producer towards the end when things started. They need some more money. And Amir said, "Well, you give me a couple grand, I'll let you be a producer." But yeah, he was definitely, and I think he's the guy in the hospital that they put up with the jelly. The gauze.
Nice.
He had to do that all day too. But a lot of people did a lot of stuff. A lot of Amir's friends helped out. You know, the gangsters with the boat, the rental boat, those are all Amir's friends. A lot of the locations that we shot at were Amir's friends. I mean, they're Iranian. They have a lot of wealth, beautiful homes in Malibu, like where we shot the scenes with the bulletproof vest and the outside tennis court stuff. That was all done there in Malibu. So, but yeah, it's just, I mean, it's amazing. There's so many things you could talk for hours about. Even if we watched the movie in froze frame, I could tell you shit. But you know, at a certain point, they're like, enough. We don't care.
That's why we need to do a live screening. That's exactly the reason.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but I don't know how you get through it. There's got to be alcohol, definitely, for people to.
There's a bar.
Go on. Okay. Yeah. I think it would be fun. Sure. Yeah.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. We've got a question here from Jill C. J-Mac, what's that?
That's Jill C. Ekegren again, or Ekegren, whatever. Anyway, whatever happened to Steve the cop? Steve, the white guy with the jerry curls.
Another random casting that Amir did, you know, in his office, because that guy showed up that day in that whole cop outfit. And, you know, God bless the kid. I mean, his acting's no worse than mine. I mean, he's a little bit more with the eyes too, but
it is worse than yours.
Well, you know, I mean, it was cute.
I know you need to be polite, but as a film viewer,
I mean, I was bluffing my way through. I mean, even in that scene, I was fucking around because that was a real urgent care facility that Amir had bluffed his way into, and I told people he made reference. Oh, this is Stallone's brother. That's going to be here today filming a scene. Do you mind if we shoot a couple in there? Oh, absolutely not. You know, and I didn't know that, but I found out later. And it doesn't make sense because we're not even the same age. Exactly. But, that girl was an actual nurse that worked there, and she was, you know, cute. So you see me in the scene as she walks by, I'm turning around, being Joe, the flirt, you know, staring at her and so on and so forth. But yeah, he was he was fine, the guy. I just thought it was funny, like you guys said, hey, call security. It's like, you are security. we didn't say anything during filming about that. You know, we just let it roll and God.
You really can't beat it. Craig Roberts says, tough question, but does Matthew know the rough budget for the film?
I think his son, when I spoke with him, I think it was $30,000 Amir had spent, I believe, and I could be wrong. And I'd love to get even Amir's son, who's now a practicing attorney here, and he was a young kid when I was filming, to come on and give a little bit more backstory about Amir and even more stuff about all of the movies, particularly. I think Samurai Cop, like I said, of the 5 movies of Amir's, if you watch them, was a culmination finally of some kind of weird magic that happened. But it was same dialogue, same kind of absurd nude scenes or fight scene, you know. But yeah, I think it was 30,000. Like I said, I think he sold it for 300,000 or 400,000, I believe. Back then at the Film Arts, you sold territories, Scotland or, you know, Uruguay or whatever. And so I think he did make some good money. So he did what he wanted to do, which was to provide for his family, make movies because he enjoyed doing that, and you know, keep all of us happy here 30 years later.
Heather Dow says, hilarious. I need to watch this again. Again, like I said, people can just keep watching this movie again and again because it's something that, you know, it does. You don't get tired of it. How many times do you watch it? Do you watch it often?
No, I mean, unless I've been there to watch it in screenings with audiences live, you know, I'll see it. But in the beginning, I remember watching it, and then I just was like, ugh. And I would try to pick little scenes to put together. I just couldn't. I remember showing it to my parents because I thought, hey, my movie's, and I sent it off, and now I'm thinking, oh my God, they must have been like, what the fuck is our kid doing? I mean, it was just absurd, but I'm just thinking, oh, it's a great movie. And On
It
a side
definitely
note,
has its
nobody has any questions yet of the very effeminate Audrey Hepburn photo of my daughter behind me yet. Why is Matt in
That's
his
amazing.
attic with a picture of Audrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's?
That's
It's my daughter's.
not,
Like I told these guys, I stored all the stuff for
Yeah.
my kids in my attic here at the house.
Hey,
It doesn't-
that's not an attic. That's a man cave. That's what that is. Sell that as a
Yeah.
man cave. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting hot in here today up here in the attic. I gotta get out of here.
Damien Fairbairn says, how would Matthew write his perfect script for the Samurai Cop 3?
Oh, I kind of already have done a treatment where it would be fun for the fans. We were just going to kind of take it all over. It picks up on the 30-year anniversary. I mean, it would have, but with Mark retiring from the LAPD as a police chief, and then him and myself were heading off on a vacation because it's his retirement with our wives. We head off to Tenerife, Spain, and everything ensues, and things end up traveling us from there to Madrid, to London, back to LA, to San Diego, and kind of wrap it all up. We were going to try to do the final scene at Comic-Con in San Diego because there's a huge fan base there, and just tie it all together. But yeah, I have a basic formula that would work. I mean, it's not that difficult because we're kind of a niche film, and just like Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, I'm not trying to say they're the same, but if you look at Mission Impossible, it's a basic storyline with beautiful locations, amazing stunts, which we wouldn't do. But if you sell it, Tenerife and Madrid, and the fan bases in all of these locations are massive. It's kind of a tip of the hat to thank you guys all for 30 years of whatever. And Mark and I are just following whatever the plot is, chasing down the bad guy. And then, like I said, to London, may have to stop in Scotland now. Maybe just a quick little.
Hey, yes.
And then, back to New York, and then you show some of the icon stuff there, LA, and then San Diego, where it all began for Joe, and just kind of wrap it up. And that was supposed to be what we were going to start last June. But, pandemic came and everything else.
Oh yeah, that's really annoying when you're trying to make a film and then the pandemic gets in the way. That's quite annoying, isn't it, Kevin?
I mean, it's maybe it was a blessing, but they're going, no, just stop while you're ahead. 2's enough. Three is not a charm, so don't get excited.
I could see them working it in that Samurai Cop actually defeats the coronavirus.
Well, yeah, now you'd want to come up with something, but yeah, the katana was behind it from the beginning, and I don't know.
That's the tagline for the movie. Coronavirus has to go for Samurai Cop tests.
Yeah. Every time getting swabbed. God, that's irritating.
Craig Matthewman says Samurai Cop versus Predator. I would watch that.
No. Come on, do it! Come on! Yeah, the Predator's ready to... Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
that anything me mainstream, I got to stay out of that. Like I said, them pairing me and Tommy Wiseau up for the second movie of Samurai Cop
that's awesome.
was funny because it's like Pacino and De Niro in Heat finally meeting. That's how I like it. I thought but that guy was a trip. I mean, he's an amazing talent and personality. But him and I in the fight scenes with live katana swords that they had on set. I go, he's not remembering choreography. I'm ready for my arm to be chopped off like I did to my buddy. And yeah, little squirting blood coming out.
Yeah, that was the skinniest arm stub I've ever seen.
Just so, and I'm thinking, why didn't they? Peter should have said, "Oh, Amir, it looks too fake," but they just went with it. The paintballs shooting at the black guy. He had a plastic cover on under his black shirt, so the paintballs were hitting him there. And then it was a Roman candle hitting the car with the sparks. And we're all sitting there with Amir. He had a special effects guy there to do those things. But yeah, it was just crazy funny.
My favorite one is the guy at the end. I think it's it's Frank that shoots him, and he just doesn't know how to take a gunshot. It's like,
oh, the big the black guy with the Jerry curl.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to get dirty. It was very dirty up there, and he had a white shirt. I don't think he wanted to fall. I don't know. But again, yeah, Amir straight picked him out of South Central Cast. I think he was Crips and Blood. I mean, he had a lot of different people, because Amir would wander around in his area in Silver Lake, California, and randomly see people. That's how he found Fujiyama eating dinner with his wife in Chinatown, and he just walked up to his table and goes, "Do you want to be in a movie?" And the guy's like, "Get out of here." And he kept on him, and so that's why I'm saying even Cranston Kimura, who plays Fujiyama did a great job as an actor. He's not even an actor. He works at the some LA housing project, helps people that need help with rent assistance and this and that, I think. So it was just funny. Like I said, again, the casting of Amir brought this potpourri of different people, and it all visually is very entertaining to watch every scene. So, but he did a great job.
What was Robert Zadar like?
We didn't have that many scenes together except for the end fight scene.
Yeah.
Very professional. I met him, and I've said before, when Sly was filming Tango and Cash, I was on set with him at Warner Brothers, and that was the day when Robert was filming his part, because he was in Tango and Cash as Face, they called him.
Yeah.
And I referenced that and said, I remember meeting you many years ago, and so on and so forth. I thought it was odd, him being in the Screen Actors Guild and a pretty, done mainstream movies, was doing this kind of movie, which is for beginners, just trying to get some. But Amir paid him pretty well, and I didn't realize he'd done other films with Amir. But he just loved acting. He was a professional, and he did a good job, and he took it serious. He never goofed around. And you see that in his scenes. He's very, professional. But yeah, him and I basically just waddled our way through the Flynn buckling sword fight, and but yeah, good dude. And I wish he would have been around for the sequel. That would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
He didn't age that well. I mean, alcohol took its toll on him, but it still would have been a nice thing to have him there along with the other people that we rounded up.
Farid says, is Farid how you say it, J. Mackey?
Farid, yep.
Farid. He says, is Matt open to working on projects? Should he like the pitch? I think he's offering you a job here live on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not an actor. I get, where people they said, oh, we'd love to see you do something else, but it's like, no, I don't know. I mean, of course, everybody always says, oh, if the money's right. But at this point, it's like, is there an interest? I just don't like seeing people, even the money that was put up for the second movie, you never make your money back. And we did it for the fans. And so that's why the third movie would either have to be somewhat crowdfunded or paid for by somebody else so that you could just enjoy it. I'm sure it would earn some dough, but other people putting these movies together, I've been asked to do a couple movies, and I just don't know. I don't think I've anything that's worth watching as far as acting wise. Who knows? I should say we'll leave it open. I mean, obviously, if Quentin Tarantino called, and I've said this before, he's the one that had brought up to, when I was in Madrid, one of the film producers, he said, the way I found out about your movie was Quentin Tarantino and I were having lunch at the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood. And he said, you've got to see this movie. It's called Samurai Cop. And that makes sense because those are the movies that Quentin would gravitate to, these crazy martial art movies. But if he said, hey, I'd love to put you in one of my movies, of course, I'm like, whatever you need me to do. I don't, to a point. But, so you never know. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but like I said, at 57 years old, I don't know if you want to see me up on a screen.
Well, look at it this way. With regards to never say never, right? You guys made that movie in 1991, and how many years passed with it being just completely in the dark, right? And then who would have thought that it's got such the following that it does now? There's such a love for it, So stranger things happen, right? So you really never know. And I always reference Bryan Cranston because I read his book, and all his best work didn't come till he was late into his 50s, because he had done really good parts in different TV series, Malcolm in the Middle, the X-Files and stuff. That were to him, they were like jobs because he wasn't the main star. Yeah. And then he became Heisenberg, and at that point, that's when he became a rock star, and that was later into his life, So I always look at it as it can happen at any time, and if the timing's right and you're ready for it, then why not? It's just one of those things.
And I don't know, maybe I'm just being spoiled and selfish. Like I said, if it was done, the third one, to at least so Mark and I can feel like, well, we at least did something good from start to finish. And I don't know if the fans want to see a good film, but whatever that would be. Then, after that, if it gets crossed over into mainstream and then things go from there, I guess. But like I said, I'm more of I love stand-up. I've always, like I said, enjoyed that because I could control it. But now, we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy people reach out every once in a while and want to talk about it. And it just keeps going and going in my everyday life over the last 6 years. Trader Joe's, which are some of the local grocery stores, more and more kids recognize me, which is hilarious. Even with my mask on when I had it during the time. hey, you're
Yeah.
Samurai Cop. Of course, I still aesthetically look almost the same, but it's just not gone away, and it keeps growing. I don't know how it keeps perpetuating. If it's YouTube, the clips, if it's being suggested to people. So I believe for anybody that's really looking to a studio or like a Netflix, there is a built-in fan base there, and most people, if you had a billboard and they go, oh, I've heard of that, or I've seen it, someone knows about it. Yeah, I believe it could parlay into something. And but yeah, my mug's attached to all that, so we'll see. Maybe that's part of the reason I never cut my hair. I don't know. I'm a creature of habit. Like I said, I've kept the same car for 30 years. I've kept the same ridiculous look for 30 years. Like when I was growing up, the guys that had the long hair were the Deadhead, Grateful Dead guys, and they were hippies from the 70s. I'm that guy from the 80s now, I guess.
No, you mentioned before, because you were really jacked in the first movie. Really, it was a really impressive physique. Did you do any wrestling?
No.
No, never.
I
Never
was-
done any wrestling.
Yeah, I was 270 when I started with Sly as a bodyguard, 270 pounds. He had asked me to drop a little weight because when we would go in public, it was pretty obvious. We would try to not be right next to him, but they could tell, oh, he's a bodyguard, he's a bodyguard. So he asked me to kind of trim down a little bit, and I was getting ready to get married in June of '88 that year. I started with Sly in April of '88. So I got on this diet, asked the guy in the gym, hey, give me something to eat. So I changed the diet, lost 30 pounds, and thought I was like super sexy, whatever. But I'm still a big blob. But then being around Sly and seeing how ripped, and I really started getting into the vanity and the narcissism of, okay, now I'm going to go from a character actor, a big guy, now I'm becoming a leading man, which I didn't realize that was what I was kind of setting myself to do. And then, so yeah, when we filmed Samurai Cop the first one, I was 230 pounds, probably there. The sequel that we shot, I was probably 180 or what, I don't know, some wafy. But like I said, I never wanted to get into the steroids and this and that. So that was kind of my pride. If I was doing a 420-pound bench press clean at 270 pounds, of course, I'm 25 years old. That was something that I can always know I did it on my own. It wasn't because I was shooting shit in me. And I'm not downing anybody that does that, but I wanted to own whatever I did. So as I got older, we start to lose testosterone. I still have my same shape, but I don't have the mass. And that's why, and God bless, it's not like a secret. Sly has always been into the HGH, and you can see that to him. And I've made endearing comments that to me, he looks like the Italian version of Shrek because it really changes your molecular. He looks a little odd, but it feels great. Yeah. Sly had many injuries from many, many years of stunts and so on. So that's helped him get through it. But the aesthetics, and I don't know the long-term damage that can cause, but a lot of people are into that hormone therapy. I just always wanted to be clean and not get into anything. But yeah, as far as, weight, that's basically what I weighed during that. But I didn't think I was super ripped. But
you can always tell a natural from unnatural. I mean, in Samurai Cop, I mean, you can tell that it's natural. It's hard work to look like you did in Samurai Cop, man. That's impressive. But I think you can always tell, and especially I think the more the years have gone by and the more HGH people are taking and stuff, there's just something weird about the distended abs. Like it's almost like it looks like a beer belly. It almost looks like a beer belly, but it's ripped. It's so bizarre looking.
Yeah, and which is odd. And then the jawline becomes a little bit more prominent, and structurally the head, just the cranium grows. And I'm not picking on anybody. Obviously, it all squashed me like a bug. And some people, they all enjoy doing it, and that's cool. But the Expendables cast, like I said, even Mel Gibson is doing some type of therapy. I know he's talked on a couple podcasts with Joe Rogan about his father taking some stem cell stuff, which is all cool if that's what you want to do. But to me, I just think things don't match your age. As you get older, you got to look a certain. So I just figured I got to just grow old the way I grow old and deal with whatever arthritic problems I'm going to end up, having.
Grow old gracefully.
Yeah.
So we're not going to keep much longer. Hey, you pretty much haven't really aged, to be honest. What your face is pretty much the exact same.
If we were up close, Mark hasn't aged, but he always says, "Hey, man, black don't crack, so don't worry." I'm like 15 or 17 years older than I am, and he looks fantastic. So
wow,
it's just health and diet and how your life you've lived.
So aside from Samurai Cop, is there Have you got stuff in the works of stuff coming up? I think you'd be great to attend all the kind of comic conventions. We're quite regular on the comic convention scene. We do all the coverage. We've got a film crew and stuff, so we always go in and we film actors and all that cool stuff. So having you there would I think it would really bring another element to a convention. Have you considered doing any big conventions? Have you done any recently?
No, I mean, I've always been approached. The one thing I have, and I'm not again judging anybody, these things where people pay for autographs and pictures. To me, I am more thankful that you guys even appreciate whatever I did. So I love just interacting, and there always seems to be some type of monetary connection when people approach me that, oh, you have to sit there, and if someone wants a picture, it's $20. And I understand that. What I don't understand are celebrities like, William Shatner or Dolph Lundgren. These guys doing it for cash. To me, it's like, guys, you got dough. And I may be completely wrong, and people can slam me for that, but I'm more appreciative of what people do, and I've never really wanted. So if they wanted to like fly me out and pay for that, put me in a room, a hotel, whatever, show up and just meet and greet people, I'd love to do that. And then if they want to compensate whatever work I'm missing here, that's fine. But it's being in that transactionary, and that's how they make their money. I get it. I kind of not drifted in that arena, because Mark would love to go do those things too. And, Mark likes to, do the photo, and he's even said, hey, why don't we start doing appearances? And I said, I don't mind, but I don't really want to get any money. And then that puts him in a weird spot. Not like he needs it, but he obviously likes to be compensated for his likeness. So I get it. But yeah, I would love to do those just because you meet more people. And if people enjoy, meeting me or anybody from the movie, I think that anything we can do for that, I'd like to participate.
The UK has a massive convention scene. It's in a bit of a troubled waters this year because of the whole COVID stuff. But
yeah, that's the industry that I actually work in here in Southern California. I hire guys to do, and we've been kind of shut down. My guys haven't been able to work. It's slowly picking up, but yeah, it's kind of sad because it's a big gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'd be great. It'd be great to see that, and to know that you're there would give us all the more reason to travel the country to come down and meet.
Oh, that's nice.
But like I said,
when somebody else there.
when COVID's done, if you are in the UK at any point, definitely let us know, because we can have it done as a phone call, and we have a date and a poster already online circulating. We'd love to have you over. It's more like how Nirvana did the old MTV Unplugged. It'd be kind of like that. Have you on a stage, a couple of comfy seats, and everybody just kind of feels like they're together in a room. What's the capacity is? There's 2 screens, and
the capacity could be pushed to maybe 120, 140, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you can gather that many people that are interested enough to listen to me babble for an hour or so, I don't mind. Like I said, I enjoy answering questions for people. It's fun for me. That's what I enjoy. Everybody else enjoys the movie. I enjoy people's reactions and their questions and being able to talk. That's fun for me.
What's the this podcast aside, what's been the most fun you've had talking about the movie since the hype picked up?
Probably the interviews that I did on the 80s Picture House way back in 2016, part 1 and part 2. I really went in depth. They spent 2 hours on part 1 and 2 hours on part 2. Some of them my life before Samurai Cop and some after. That was fun. But like I said, when I've traveled for the premieres of Samurai Cop 2 to Madrid, that was fun being around the fan base, because anywhere you go, they all have that love of those movies that are so bad they're good. So I enjoy interacting. And it's funny for me because I literally would have people come up, women that are just shaking, and I'm like, stop. I mean, I'm just a dork. It's not like you're meeting Elvis Presley in 1950. But it's very endearing, and I think it's sweet. But it's just funny to see people that really, are shocked when I'm there. They don't realize I'm as tall as I am or whatever. But it's just fun. I think probably when I travel, even when I was in London, that was fun. I have my friends. I shout out to all my friends over in actually Tina, Dave, and Tom that are from the 80s Picture House. I give them a shout out. They're over. I think they live in Wales or just outside Wales. So I've been in touch with everybody in Tenerife during the pandemic, seeing how their governments are handling things, what's going on. And hopefully we can quickly get through the nonsense and move on. Like I said, I got through it, but it's a big topic everybody can get into. I have natural antibodies now, and I don't really want to add anything to it. I think we'll be fine. I think there's enough stuff out there. If you want to get a vaccine, go for it. If you think the mask works, go for it. But to keep mandating stuff, and like our poor people in Australia, I'm just thinking, fuck, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to travel anywhere, because it's so absurd for what it really is and for how deadly it is. The things that are going on are beyond that, and that's what makes me wonder: do I want to travel outside of the U.S.? Because here we can still say, "Fuck you," fuck, come get me. But where I live here in California, it's a very liberal coast, and New York, in the middle of America, they're back to normal. They don't even think about COVID. Everyone's going to football games. Fuck Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very politically split country. So yeah, for me to travel, I'd love to get over there, but I need some stability.
Yeah.
You got half the country that still think the election was rigged, half believe that the COVID isn't necessary what we're doing. So it's just really straight down the middle. And sometimes I just think I'm in a fucking Alice in Wonderland. It's like, come on, we're coming up on 2 years now. Let's live with it. Let's move on, and let's everybody get back to life, because now economies are getting hit. Trade and this and that and flying, you can't fly unless you have a vaccine shot. It's like, come on. So that's the only thing limiting me from coming over there. I'd love to spend time with you guys over there. I think it would be a blast.
Yeah, well, when the stars align, that we can definitely make that happen. So that would be unbelievable to have you over. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this show, Matt. And you can come on anytime. We should talk about
I think
at some point.
We've done enough, unless you think there's more to dig in. But I mean,
we should come on. We could do a watch along of a Rocky
we'll all
movie,
just
right?
watch it. We'll watch it together. We'll watch it together, and we'll just
yeah. Those
absolutely.
I did watch over and over and over again. Rocky 3s or Rocky 4s when I was growing up. Yeah, I love watching those things. Great.
Absolutely.
He was a great movie maker. I love the music, the soundtracks, and all of Sly's movies were very entertaining. It was that MTV era of quick cuts. He was a really brilliant writer, director. I sat there the day that he wrote Rocky 4. I was playing tennis with his girlfriend. Yeah, tough job at work. While he sat outside in Beverly Hills and wrote the scripts, he's that motivated. That's why he's an amazing talent, and it was an honor to work for him. So
very much looking forward to the Rocky 4 director's cut, which is coming very soon.
Yeah, that'll be good. I think that'll be good.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll watch that together.
You should come on and we'll watch it together.
Do you guys you do live screenings of that? Yeah, let me know.
Well, I absolutely.
We'll sort something.
It's fine for me. Yeah. You guys do it at 9 o'clock your time.
Yeah. There you have it.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you for reaching out. I enjoyed your review. It was spot on. I don't ever have any hard. I laugh the entire time, so don't ever think you offended me, because I've never done that.
It was so funny.
I appreciate you guys reaching out.
It was so funny. After we reached out and asked you to come on and you agreed, Kevin texted me. He's like, did we not really kind of tear into this guy? I was like, no, we didn't tear into this guy. We tore into the movie.
It was all fair stuff. I agree with you on everything. Nothing offends.
No, it's been an absolute blast having you on, Matt, and I'd love to have you on again. So would Kevin, so would everybody that watched tonight. Thanks for your questions tonight as well. That was good fun.
Everybody for tuning in and asking questions. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, and we will definitely have you back on in the future. You can find us all at jibberjabberpodcast.com. You can find everywhere that we put our podcast out, and keep an eye on what's coming next. Again, Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't believe it. We had the Samurai Cop here on the show.
Hey. Bingo.
I need to do this. I need to try and do the face.
Yeah.
There it is.
I wish I had a playback.
And we will see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.